Hello and welcome to this week's forecast for the week of September 18th to the 24th. I am so excited to dive in. Mercury retrograde is almost over. We will still feel the shadow of it for a little while yet. There may still be some technology and communication glitches, but we have made it, my friends. We have made it. I remember going back to my last week's forecast and saying at the beginning of this week, just hold, because it's coming. And today, as I'm recording this on Thursday, the new moon, I can feel the energy beginning to shift as we move out. And Mercury goes direct tomorrow, Friday, on the 15th of September. And now I want to look at September 18th to the 24th. We carry the Six of Clubs energy at the beginning of the week, and then we move into that beautiful Hearts energy for the last week of the month. So significant shift in energy. And as we go through this, it's so funny because before I pressed go live to do this forecast, all of a sudden I had this crazy throat chakra clearing. I was sneezing like crazy. And if you know me, I don't sneeze very often. And I sneezed about 15 times in a row and then started coughing. So there is definitely some clearing of integrity, throat chakra, truth, honesty coming through today. I can feel it very deeply. So if I am coughing during today's forecast, I apologize. I have a bit of a tickle happening still that's still clearing, and that is a beautiful thing. This new moon is inspiring our integrity and our truth, as did Mercury retrograde, really bringing us to the place of what's true for us and how we want to move forward in our self-expression. So let's look at the week ahead. So we begin on Monday with a Six of Clubs ruling number 7 energy. And there's really an invitation here to watch the story that you're telling yourself. Are you telling yourself the story of you're amazing, I trust you, I will follow your lead? Or are you telling yourself the story as to why you can't have what you want? Notice those thoughts that are going on in your head. There's a pattern that we run all the time. And, we can tell ourselves little stories here, there, and everywhere. But the default pattern of that story of I trust myself, I'm willing to take action, I'm willing to go for it, I know I'm afraid, but I'll do it anyway. Or, nope, don't wanna, can't, or coming up with all the excuses or all the resistance, I'm not ready yet, I'm still working on my website, I haven't figured out my offer yet. All of that stuff will come up beginning next week. Remember, we're still going to be feeling the shadow of Mercury retrograde. And so we may still have some little glitchy things happening in communication, including communication with yourself. So be mindful of those thoughts you're thinking and the stories you're telling yourself. And really, it's a day for creative expression to flow through you without you having to try to figure it out or understand what it's about, just letting yourself create, whether that be through writing or drawing or painting or dancing around the living room or cooking an incredible meal or putting together an offer or whatever it might be. Creative expression does not need to look a certain way. It can be anything you desire. So the dream is yours. We have spent the last 3 weeks in a slowing down so that we could get more clear, so that we could look at the big picture of where we're going, of what we want, of how we want to share our message. And this slowing down has invited us into more clarity, more integrity, more alignment, so that when Mercury goes direct, we can move forward. So don't stop yourself, move forward. The 7 wants you to move forward. It wants you to take action. You do not need to have it all figured out. You do not need to know all the hows. All you need to do is take one action step, move the needle forward. Do not be complacent. Do not get lazy. Do not say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Do something on Monday to move the needle forward, even if it's one teeny tiny little step. That's all that's needed. If you find yourself in anxiety, if you find yourself overthinking, drop your awareness down into the heart. Ask your heart why you want what you want, and then go take an action. Even if it's something as simple as posting something to social media or reaching out to somebody or, putting something down on your to-do list saying, I'm going to do this no matter what, right? Take action. Oh, yeah, I knew there was going to be some more throat chakra clearing. So we're going to just roll with that. All is well. Tuesday, we move into the Five of Clubs ruling 8 energy, and this one feels pretty big. It feels like a sovereignty energy of really looking at the big picture and choosing your own experience, of not deferring to everybody else's opinions of what your life should look like, of how you should be doing things, and really letting yourself be in the driver's seat of your life, of your business, and how you're choosing to move forward. And that means you've got to witness your own power. You have to come back to that 40,000 foot view and look at how amazing you are. And look at how possible your dream is. And stop trying to fit yourself into a box that you don't belong in, but really shining your light so damn bright that the world needs shades. Allowing yourself to stand in your fullest sovereign power and expressing from that place. Placing your sovereignty in someone else's hands will always result in disappointment. Every single time. I've been there, I've tried it, it did not work out well. So make sure that you are not being silent, that you are standing strong and resilient, and that you look at your dream and say, that dream is mine, and I am willing to take action towards it. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to be independent in doing it. I am going to ask for help when I need it, but I'm willing to go on an adventure here. This is really about seeing the game of your life and of your business and taking it less seriously, and yet still moving the needle forward and going for it. So big energies at the beginning of the week that move us into more stability and more groundedness. And I think what's going to happen at the beginning of the week is we're still going to be a little wonky in what it actually looks like. So if you find yourself asking how, or I don't have it all figured out, or I'm not sure what's going on, I still don't have clarity, that's okay. That's okay, because it's coming, I promise. So on Wednesday, we've got the Four of Clubs ruling number 9 energy. So on Wednesday, the ideas are starting to come together. It feels like there's a little bit more harmony, a little bit more stability, like we might actually be able to move the needle forward. There's so much throat stuff happening right now. It's so fun. Okay. So we want to make sure on Wednesday you are not trying to control the outcome. You cannot control what it looks like in the material experience. You've got to just unite those ideas and let those ideas come into something cohesive, something that makes sense. And you do not have to have it all figured out. I think that's the key theme of this week. You do not have to have it all figured out. So important. So taking action in alignment means that you take one action, that you don't have a to-do list of 52 million things and then you try to control every step of the way. It means you take one action and then you come back to your heart and you ask, okay, well, now that I've done that, what's the next thing? And then you go do that. And then you come back to your heart again and you say, okay, now that I've done that, what's the next thing? So you're always checking in and not trying to completely project manage your dream. So you don't have to have it all figured out. You do not need to have all your ducks in a row. You guys have heard me talk about your ducks. There's one in the meadow frolicking around. There's one on the roof playing away. And there's one in the back of the cop car because he keeps misbehaving. You cannot get your ducks in a row. So just let that go. Surrender to this process. Surrender to what you can do. So if you're caught up in the noise of, maybe you've got a bunch of bills to pay, or maybe you don't have the clarity on what it is that you're doing, you don't know what your full dream is, you don't have that vision, so you're like, Cindy, I can't take action on something that I don't understand. Well, what can you do? Bring it back to the very simplest thing. What is one thing I can do right now? And maybe it's as simple as doing a meditation. Maybe it's as simple as walking away and not trying to control everything. Maybe it's as simple as having a little cough and clearing that throat chakra, right? And letting things move and surrendering to the process. This is not about having a to-do list. This is about grace. It's about serenity. It's about being willing to take action even if you're afraid, being willing to lean into the unknown and taking one action forward, not doing all the things. Because as soon as you take one action, then everything changes. And so trying to figure it all out is next to impossible. So do one thing. Now, be aware that by Wednesday of next week, things might start to feel a little less chaotic. But hang on, because it's going to get a little bit messy before it gets cleaner, okay? So just like when we clean out our closet, we need to be aware You clean out all the mess. I just cleaned out our junk drawer yesterday. Tyler's here. I just cleaned out our junk drawer yesterday and I made a huge mess. And then I put it all back and now it's all neat and tidy and clean, right? So in order to create more calm and ease and simplicity, we got to make it messy first and then we can put it all back. Choose the pieces that we want to put back. So Wednesday, it may feel a little less chaotic, but hang on to your hats because Thursday, 3 of Clubs, ruling 1 energy. This is all about creativity, letting the inspiration flow, make space for new ideas. Do not on Thursday fill your schedule up with all the things you need to do. Create space. Let yourself just be in that place of absolute surrender, asking what's next. Don't worry about what it should look like. This is not just the beginning of something. This is also about just allowing things to happen. Right? It is just the beginning. And so in the beginning, things are messy. Things are all over the place. You've got notes everywhere and you're like, I don't know what this all looks like. What if it doesn't need to look like anything yet? Just let it be messy. Throw all your papers up in the air and see where they land. That's the kind of energy. So it's about writing, expressing, letting ideas be incomplete, not needing to have it all put together, and creating for the sheer joy of creating. Nothing else. I shared this story this morning in a coaching call where I went to a retreat years ago. We're talking 7 or 8 years ago now. It was the first retreat I'd ever been to. It was the first time I'd ever meditated or experienced anything like this. And I felt so out of place. I was like, I don't belong here. This is too woo-woo for me. It's not my jam. And now I'm boss witch, right? So a lot changed since that retreat. But at that retreat, we were doing a heart opening exercise and then painting a drum based on what we felt our heart looked like. We were meant to express on this drum what our heart looked like to us from the inside out. I still have that drum to this day, and it hangs on the wall downstairs in our main house, in main part of the house, because it is bright and vibrant. It is red and yellow and orange and blue, and there's so many different colors, and it's absolute chaos because my personality is a little chaotic, and I know that. But during this exercise, I was like, I can't paint. I don't know how to create. I can't even draw a stick man. I can't. And then we did the heart opening exercise and it just flowed through me. That's the kind of energy we want to play with on Thursday, of just letting it be what it wants to be without trying to control the process. And it will all make sense later. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If you catch yourself in doubt, worry, insecurity, I can't do this, I don't know what I'm doing on Thursday, go create something. Like find a new recipe and make some sort of food you've never made before. Go just write and see what comes out. Let's just allow the free writing to happen. Do something different that allows a shift in perception so that you can break through that anxiety and come into that creative expression without attachment. Okay. Then we move into Friday, 2 of Clubs ruling 2 energy. So this is deeply about making decisions. So remember on Wednesday, I said things are going to feel a little less chaotic and then they're going to feel more chaotic. And then on Friday, it's like, okay, now you've seen more of the big picture here and now it's time to decide. It's time to make decisions and face your fears and really trust yourself from the inside out and take action from that place of why. So again, it's a very active week. I see a lot of projects getting done. I see a lot of forward movement. I see the ability to actually take action, inspired action, and it's a lot of chaotic action. None of it really makes sense until the end of the week. So you may have a bit of a mess, and that's okay. But this question, this 2 of Clubs ruling 2 energy is really asking us, are you going to stay where you're at? Because that's a choice, to stay where you're at in this familiar and what I call the zone of familiarity. A lot of people call it the comfort zone. But if you really think about it, the comfort zone is actually quite uncomfortable. Just because you're used to it doesn't mean it's comfortable. We just use that word somehow. So I like to call it the zone of familiarity because it's familiar, even if it's uncomfortable. Or will you choose to step into your heart's desire, which is the unknown and the scary? That's a choice you get to make. So this time, Friday, is very deeply intuitive. It's a time for verbally processing your ideas. It's a time for really allowing things to flow through you, but making decisions, looking at those fears and saying, not today, my friend. Today we do the thing. Today we decide to move the needle forward. And then we move into the weekend. Saturday, Sunday is when we have the shift from the clubs into the hearts. So Saturday, Ace of Clubs, ruling 3, deeply creative energy, ability to create, play, have fun, adventures. Saturday is the day to just kind of go, whee! Mercury retrograde is now over, and now I can just let loose, allow inspiration to flow through. Seriously, carry a journal with you on Saturday. If you are out in the trees, if you're adventuring, if you're having fun, if you're golfing, I don't care what you're doing, make sure you have the ability to write ideas down, because on Saturday, those ideas are going to be flowing like crazy next week. And you might find that by Sunday, things start to make sense. Things are going to start to land. You will come into this grounded awareness of how you can lead from this place. All this ideas and truths and new stuff that's been coming through is going to start to feel foundational. So you'll be solidifying what came through all week long, what came through during Mercury retrograde. It's all going to get cleaned up, my friends. So the cleanup happens on Sunday. You are grounding into the love for the dream and moving into the heart's energy, prepping for that full moon at the end of the month, which we will be talking about next week. So don't miss next week's forecast. And I highly recommend coming back to these forecasts. I have been doing it, my clients have been doing it, and it's been really helpful, especially this past week. And I've noticed like the August forecast, when we go back and look, it's like a reminder for our brain of, oh yeah, this shit's happening, but I know what's going on, and I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just the way the energy is rolling, and so I can work with the energy instead of against it. So highly recommend you come back throughout the week. You'll find this on my website, on my YouTube channel. It'll be everywhere. So there will be no hesitation and no excuses for not knowing what's going on with the energy.